welcome to part 3 of our merchants tutorial. If you're coming from a fresh start and you're not watching these back to back, you should find this blueprint down in user interface, and we are working in shop weapons. So over in shop weapons, last time we filled out the replace weapon script, essentially bringing up this menu over in the designer. So just a quick example of how that's going to work. When the player enters, I'm just clicking this little eyeball here. Weapons main border will be visible by default. And then if they click on the assault rifle and they have an empty slot, then we'll bring up the purchase successful menu. But if they don't have an empty weapon slot, then the script will hide the weapons main menu and put the replace weapon border menu up, and then the player can select one of these. So that's what we created last time. The beginning of that script looks like this. Just making a replace weapon visible and hiding weapons main, which are variables that we tied to the actual border. So if you select a border and scroll down, then over here, and this is where we'll start because we didn't do it last episode, weapons main selected, visibility, click on binding, and you can see weapons main vis there. So we will bind it there, and then click on replace weapon. Scroll down to behavior, click on the bind option here under visibility, and click on replace weapon vis. So it's a good thing I did that revision, so we caught that. Compile and save that. The other thing we need to do every time we bring a new menu up is up here, we need to set user focus. So I'm going to copy the set user focus and get player controller, and I'm going to paste them down here. Then I'm going to drag in one of these buttons in the menu over here. So either weapon slot 1 or weapon slot 2. By default, I'll put it in weapon slot 1. If I come up to button replace slot 1 and drag that in, holding control to get a getter, then I can plug that into set user focus. Because if we don't set the focus on the visible menu, then our gamepad support will be lost in the invisible menu, and we won't be able to make a selection with the gamepad, which for a PC player means that they would just use their mouse, but for a console player it means they're stuck. So let's plug that in there. Now let's go through and fill out the other scripts here, because a lot of them are going to be very simple. Now every single one of these menus is going to hide weapons main vis. So let's paste that down here on every single one of these. And what I'm actually going to do is rearrange this order here. I'm going to put weapons main vis first. It won't make a difference to the player because it's going to happen so quickly, but it will make a difference to us because now I have the same row in every single one of these, so that it kind of makes sense in my brain that this is the first action that's happening every single time. So for example, let's say that the weapons main vis wasn't hiding. I could come over here and check that they're all hidden. And I'll plug that back in there. Just a little bit of quality assurance there. I will also need to set user focus in all of them, but we haven't got those buttons yet. So I'm going to copy and paste that over. So every single one of them will hide weapons main, and then set user focus on the correct button. So now let's go and duplicate this variable here on replace weapon vis, and we will call this not enough funds vis. We'll duplicate that again and call this weapon already equipped vis, and duplicate one more time, purchase successful vis. So now I'll drag in purchase successful, and holding Alt, I'll drop that down there. Purchase successful, plug that into the correct event, and then plug that in there. We'll do the same for weapon already equipped. The reason that we can't call this variable just weapon already equipped is because we've already used that name for the event. Then we'll do the same for not enough funds. Now we'll go and check that all of these are default as hidden. To do that, we'll need to compile to get a default value. So replace weapon, we already did. Then not enough funds is hidden by default. Weapon already equipped is hidden by default. And purchase successful is hidden by default. Because we only want weapons main viz to be up when we start the menu. So let's do purchase successful menu. We're going to copy replace weapon border and paste it on the canvas panel. Then hit F2 and we're going to name this purchase successful. Again, can't use that name again because we used it on the event. So we'll put border at the end. And then I'll make this visible. Click the drop down. First thing I'll do is edit the title, just using the text in the middle. So we'll call this purchase successful. Now for the buttons, we only need one of them. We'll get rid of replace weapon slot 2_1. Let's just put a 1 at the end because we have those buttons already. Making sure that we are on the purchase successful border and we're not accidentally deleting these from the replace weapon border. So get rid of that button. We also only need a spacer between the two. We also only need one rich text block here. And with the second rich text block, we will call this button simply continue. We will rename this button to purchase successful button. And now that we have that button, when we come back over to our graph, with that button selected, I can then drag that over and put that on the target for set user focus. One final thing, we'll need to select the border, scroll down to behavior on the right, click the drop down and click purchase successful viz. We'll need to also write a script for this button as well. And it's up to you where you want to put this. I'll put mine just at the end here, because this event will put that button on screen and then that'll be the only button that can be activated. So essentially this script will flow on to the next piece. So clicking purchase successful button and clicking unclicked, I'll drag that over here. Now for this button, we need to do the opposite. Let's copy our sets over weapon main viz and purchase successful viz. So with that plugged in, we'll click the drop down for weapons main viz. We want to make this visible again, and we want to hide the purchase successful menu. We'll copy over user focus. And just so our menu is functional, so our button never gets stuck, we will copy over that button assault rifle again. But later on, we might save the button that we've selected as a variable so that we can come back to the same button. So if you purchase a pistol, it doesn't just take you back to the top of the menu. Another thing we'll need to do is a little bit of a custom script here. Instead of going straight to purchase successful, we're going to need to also hide our replace weapon menu here. And we'll just do it after here because otherwise our replace weapon menu isn't going to be hidden. So now let's go back to the designer, bring our purchase successful border. Let's copy that over and paste it down on the canvas panel. Then I'll hit F2 and I'll call this not enough funds border. I'm going to hide purchase successful border, and with not enough funds border visible, click the drop down underneath the background blur. There's our rich text block. I'm going to put in not enough funds into the title and hit enter. The button can still say continue and it's just the one button. Let's click the drop down menu on the horizontal box. Click on the purchase successful button duplicate, making sure that we are indeed in the not enough funds border. Hit F2 and we'll call this the not enough funds button. Then while we're still on the designer menu, we might as well scroll down to behavior, click the binding on visibility and select the not enough funds visibility here. Over to the designer. There's our not enough funds button. I just realized that the formatting is different. So I'm going to go and change that formatting there. So instead of saying not enough funds button, I'm going to say button underscore not enough funds, so that when it's in the variables menu, it's sorted in a better way. Then I'll do the same for purchase successful. I know it doesn't seem like a big deal, but remember, the bigger your project, the more you'll want to quality control a few of these things just to make it easier to fix problems in the future. Underscore purchase successful. I'm going to click on that button, drag the button in onto the not enough funds script here, onto set user focus, and then select the not enough funds button again, hit the onClicked prompt so that we get an event for when that's clicked. Line it up with the event that sets the visibility. Copy that event over. I'll have to make some more room. So I'll drag this down for now until I make more room. I'll get rid of the not enough funds button for set user focus and copy over the assault rifle there. And then I'll switch this around. Out of the not enough funds button, I want to make the weapons main visible and not enough funds hidden. So with that done, I'm going to compile and save and do it one more time for our weapon already equipped. So selecting the not enough funds border, I will copy that and paste it onto the canvas panel, hit F2 to rename. I'll go a little bit faster this time. We'll call this the weapon already equipped border. Click the drop down, background blur into the vertical box, hide the not enough funds border so we know which one we're working on. With weapon already equipped border selected, select the rich text block and call that weapon already equipped. Then with the horizontal box selected and the button selected, we'll hit F2 on that button and call it button underscore weapon already equipped. We'll still say continue. We'll scroll down to behavior. Click the binding, select weapon already equipped viz. Compile that. Over to the event graph, I will select the button underscore weapon already equipped, which is already highlighted because we were just working on that. Thank you, Unreal Engine. I'll scroll in on that and drag that weapon onto set user focus as the target. And then I'll click on the button again and select onClicked down here. Move that over here so it's lined up. And then I want to copy over the weapon already equipped script and just reverse it. So we will set weapons main viz to visible now, weapon already equipped to hidden, get rid of the weapon already equipped button and make that the assault rifle for now. So as I mentioned before, the script is pretty much identical. So that means that whatever happens, we should have a menu pop up to inform the player what's going on. If I go back over to the graph, we'll just revise where those events are getting fired off. So here in this script, we'll check the currency, and if the currency isn't equal to the amount for the assault rifle, then we will fire off the not enough funds script right there. Then the player will click that button and it will go away and back to the weapons main menu. The same for if we check both weapon slots and we already own that weapon or are currently holding it, we will check if the weapon's already equipped, and if it is, then we will fire off the weapon already equipped function, bring the menu up, close it again, and then once we've sorted out whether we are putting the weapon in an empty slot or replacing the weapon, we did the replace weapon scripts last time, then we come over to our purchase successful, which is down here, does the same thing, brings the menu up to say the purchase was successful, and then moves along back to the main menu. So that'll do for this episode. In the next episode, we will continue on with this script, and I predict that maybe in the next 2 episodes, we should be pretty close to done with this. So I will see you guys in the next episode.